Divorce sucks, but it doesn't have to define you. You're not alone, and you're not powerless, even when everything feels like it's falling apart. Welcome to The Difficult Divorce, a podcast that cuts through the drama and confusion to give you clarity, confidence, and straight-up real talk. Hosted by Molly Rosenblum, family law attorney, fierce advocate, and the one you want in your corner when it all hits the fan. Each week, we'll break down the legal, the emotional, and the unexpected so you can take back control. Because smart decisions start with straight answers.
Welcome back to The Difficult Divorce, the show where we help you navigate the legal, emotional, and financial twists and turns of ending a marriage. I'm your co-host, Anthony, and today I'm with Molly Rosenblum, founding attorney at the Rosenblum Allen Law Firm, located in Las Vegas. And we're here to break down the realities of what you're likely to face in a divorce. So let's get started. Hi, Molly.
Hi, Anthony, and it's so great to be back here on The Difficult Divorce after a few weeks off for trial preparation and conducting a few trials in our office.
So let's get into it. Our topic for today is alimony. What is it? When does it come up? How does the court determine the amount and who gets it? Maybe some misconceptions surrounding spousal support and how to stay prepared. Without further delay, Molly, what is alimony?
So, I'm super excited to be talking about alimony today. Alimony is basically financial support that one spouse has to pay to another after a divorce. But here's the key point. In Nevada, it's not automatic. A judge has to look at whether one spouse's needs for support and the other spouse's ability to pay that support. So in Nevada, we are looking at multiple factors, including need and the ability to pay.
When do we typically see spousal support come up?
So usually in Nevada, spousal support comes up when there are two situations. Either first and foremost, when there's a big gap in income between spouses, or when there's no income for one of the spouses. So maybe, for example, one spouse earns significantly more than the other, or another spouse has been out of the workforce raising kids, for example, so they don't have immediate earning power. And in those situations, we're going to be looking at alimony.
I guess my question is, how does the court determine how much spousal support will be? Do they have a formula kind of similar to child support?
Great question, Anthony. And in Nevada, two of the biggest questions we get is how much spousal support and for how long. And unlike child support in Nevada, there's no set formula for alimony or spousal support. So judges have a lot of discretion and they can look at a lot of different things like the length of the marriage, the lifestyle during the marriage, the spouse's ability to earn an income and ability to pay spousal support in the future, if someone got a specific education or training during the marriage. Those are things that the court will look at to determine whether or not there should be an alimony award. And each factor requires an in-depth analysis. So, for example, length of the marriage, the longer a spouse is married or the parties are married, could mean the longer or more alimony is going to be paid. If they have a pretty swanky lifestyle during the marriage, then the court is going to look at, once they're divorced, is one spouse going to be able to maintain that lifestyle while another spouse struggles? Again, comparing incomes, so the court's going to look at, is one spouse earning 10 times more than another spouse? Does a spouse who maybe, let's say, got a medical degree during the marriage, but is just starting in practice versus what will they be able to earn during the future? And then, looking at somebody who may need spousal support, the court's going to look at what is their education. Do they need to get more education or more training to re-enter the workforce in order to bridge that gap?
You've probably encountered numerous myths about alimony through your extensive career. What would you say are some of the most prevalent ones that you've heard?
So for sure, there are a lot of myths about alimony, especially in Nevada. So these are kind of the biggest ones. First and foremost is the idea that alimony lasts forever. That is rarely true. And in fact, getting an award of lifetime alimony is a really, really difficult thing in Nevada. Usually spousal support is temporary and it's designed to get someone back on their feet or at least give them a chance to be on parity with the other spouse. Rarely is it forever. And in fact, in Nevada, spousal support ends if the spouse receiving alimony remarries or if either party dies. So it's super important to not look at spousal support as a forever thing. The second myth that we often face is my spouse cheated, so I don't have to pay, or my spouse cheated, so I should get extra. And that's actually not true. In Nevada, it's a no-fault jurisdiction. So alimony is not a guarantee. And just because one spouse cheated doesn't mean that you don't have to pay. Or if the paying spouse cheated, it doesn't mean you get more. So that's just plain wrong. Finally, is this idea that it's half. I'm going to get half of the income of the spouse that earns more for half of the length of the marriage. And that is also incorrect. In Nevada, there is no formula that decides spousal support. So unlike child support, there's no formula. And like we talked about at the beginning, the court's going to look at a bunch of different factors to make a determination about how much and how long.
So for our listeners, what should they be keeping in mind regarding alimony and preparing for divorce?
Great question again, Anthony. So yeah, definitely keeping in mind the following three things if you are going through a divorce and thinking about alimony. First, alimony is about fairness and financial need. The court does not use it to punish a spouse or to reward a spouse. So always consider when you're asking for alimony or thinking about having to pay alimony, what's fair and what does the person need. Second, each case is unique. So just because your best friend got $10,000 a month in alimony doesn't mean you're going to get $10,000 a month. And I would also caution against the ChatGPT lawyer or the Google lawyer that tells you here's how it's considered in a Nevada divorce. Again, every case is unique. The court is going to look at a bunch of different circumstances. So definitely don't rely on your Google lawyer or your ChatGPT lawyer or some quick, easy alimony calculator, because it just doesn't work that way. And finally, my biggest piece of advice would be to get advice early. The more you plan ahead, the better you can prepare financially and present your case to the court. So definitely planning is key. Talk to lawyers, especially lawyers who are experienced in this area. If you're looking at paying alimony or wanting to receive alimony, it's important to get that advice early on so you can set yourself up for the best possible outcome in your case.
Molly, thank you so much for joining us today on The Difficult Divorce. Your insight is incredibly valuable to our listeners. We truly appreciate you sharing your knowledge and helping to shed light on such an important topic. If you found this episode helpful, we encourage you to subscribe to The Difficult Divorce on your preferred podcast platform. Please also consider leaving us a review, as your feedback helps us improve and reach a wider audience. Finally, if you know somebody who might benefit from this discussion, please share this episode with them. Your support allows us to continue providing valuable resources and guidance to those navigating the challenges of divorce. Thank you for listening.
You've been listening to The Difficult Divorce. Follow, review, and share if this helped cut through the noise. Find more tools and real talk on our website at rosenblumlawlv.com. And be sure to tune back in for the next episode. Because in divorce, what you don't know will cost you.